What are people's choices between conventional and alternative medicine?
Mina ngingakusho ukuthi umbili imithi iyasebenza. Awukho umuthi ongasebenzi. Ukuthi kwesinye isikhathi kuyenzeka ukuthi kube khona izinto ezidlula odokotela emthini yesintu ukuthi khona ukuthi ulithole usizo kuyona. Eyesintu ngoba manje esilungu sometimes angithi inama side effect ukuthi mawungasawusebenzisa ukhona ukuthi uqhubeke uphile kumele usebenzisa njalo njalo. Ya wesintu baqalela ukuzosebenzisa isikhathi esingaka emva kwalokho mhlambe uyeke uqhubeke uphile.
Mina ngibhilivela kowesilungu ngoba mangigula ngiyahamba ngikadokotela kubantu well qualified. Ngeke sengikhona ukuthi ngisuke ngebantwini engingabaza ukuthi imithi bayithathayo.
Mina ngibhilivela kwesilungu ngoba owesintu awunawo ama-X-ray nama-scan. Lo wesilungu uma ngiya kadokotela bayangichecka inkinga enginayo ngaphakathi bazokwazi ukuthi bathole lokhu okungiphethe.
Wesilungu. The reason being since abunganeni bami angazi ngasebenzisa umuthi wesintu.
Umuthi esibhilivela kuwo wesiZulu ngoba lo wesilungu asiwazi ukuthi uqhamukaphi. Amakhambi nje siwazi yawesiZulu awangakithi.
Mina wesisi ngithi ngikholelwa kulo owesintu mina. Okudala ukuthi ngikholelwe kulo owesintu ukuthi uyashesha kunalo owesilungu.
So traditional medicine is often termed complementary and alternative medicine, or simply CAM. Now, this is the term used for medical products and practices that are not part of conventional, mainstream, or standard care, as some people define it. Now, conventional care is what medical doctors and allied health professionals, such as nurses and physiotherapists, practice. Now, complementary medicine is any practice used together with conventional medical treatment in the belief that it complements the treatment. Alternative medicine, on the other hand, is any practice used in place of conventional medicine purported to be having healing effects of medicine. Now, examples of complementary and alternative medicine practices include such practices such as homeopathy, chiropractic, traditional Chinese medicine, various forms of acupuncture. Now, other common practices in South Africa include spiritual and traditional healing. So today we discuss complementary, alternative, and traditional medicine. Our guests today are Director of Traditional Medicines from the National Department of Health, a member of the Complementary Medicine Committee, South African Health Products Regulatory Authority, or simply called SABRA, the Registrar from the Allied Health Professions Council of South Africa, a family physician, an acupuncturist, a homeopath, a spiritual healer and psychic medium, and a traditional healer, and also the chairperson of the Health Products Association of South Africa. She will be joining us from our studios in Cape Town. You can tweet us at SABC Health Talk or simply interact with us on our Facebook page, SABC Health Talk. So sit back, relax, and learn from this bumper show ahead. Coming to you just after a short break. I'm Dr. Saloma Daum, and this is Health Talk.
One's life can change in an instant. It is then that you need fast and efficient service. And that is why Asapol created the Instant Groceries benefit for you. Minutes after a claim, an electronic voucher for 2,500 Rand will be sent to your cell phone. And within an instant, you can start doing shopping at all the major stores. More than 700,000 customers have already received the Instant Groceries benefit. Get yours in an instant. SMS call to 32813.
We are losing the best of kids. People that are fathers or pastors that comes from a church.
No taxi, nothing. We were not notified. I get to town, there's nothing. I get
Empeleni amakhambi maningi kakhulu ngoba lapha nje njengoba sikhuluma ngamakhambi ikhambi leli awuyele ulisebenzise makuthi uzumzimba wakho ukhathala unganamandla ikhambi lelo ukwazi ukuthi ustime ngalo umzimba wakho ukwazi ukuthi uphefemule kahle imbobo zomjuluko zakho ivuleke and then lapho kuzoba khona ikhambi leli lokuthi njengabalaphi bendabuko besintu siyazi ukuthi kunabantu bakithi abadala bangasekho emhlabeni ikhambi leli lokuthi ukwazi ukuthi ukhulume nabantu ucela abantu abadala ungalahla amasiko yakithi ngoba amasiko yakithi awekithi singabantu abamnyama singabalaphi bendabuko sithi cha impela amakhambi la siyasebenzisa futhi sisebenzisana nabo odokotela umuntu mangabe fika aphethe isifo esidinga udokotela wesilungu siyamlayela ukuthi akaye kudokotela endaweni ethile siyakwazi ukusebenzisana nabo odokotela besintu singabalaphi bendabuko la njengalapha nje lapha umuntu ofuna inhlanhla yomsebenzi uyakwazi ukuthi inhlanhla yomsebenzi umuntu ayithola izinto ezingahambi kahle empilweni yakhe ngoba eziningi izinto ezenzakalayo ngokwesintu sethu singabantu abamnyama ukugula kwethu akufani zibuyifunga izifo ngokuhlukana kwazo kodwa ngeke uthi wena njengomlaphi wendabuko uzazi zonke izifo kodwa siyakwazi ukuthi sikuncede njengabantu abasebenza ngokwendabuko.
All right, so let's try and unpack all of these issues around complementary, alternative, and traditional medicine. And it's a great pleasure to introduce our special guest. First, closest to me is Bruce Mbedzi. Now, Bruce is Director for Traditional Medicines at the National Department of Health. Welcome to Health Talk, Bruce.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all the viewers out there.
All right. Next to Bruce is Professor Davis Katerere. Prof. Katerere is member of the Complementary Medicine Committee for the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority, or SAPRA. We're going to call it that. Welcome to Health Talk, Prof.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
All right. And last but not least is Dr. Louis Mulinda, who is Registrar of the Allied Health Professions Council of South Africa, or AHPCSA. Welcome to Health Talk, Dr. Mulinda.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
All right. Perhaps, gentlemen, let's start by defining all of these, and perhaps before we start with our introductions and, definitions, let's cross over to Cape Town and welcome another special guest, Maria Asensau, who's chairperson of the Health Products Association of South Africa. Welcome to Health Talk, Maria.
Good morning, Dr. Selo, and thank you for having me on your program, and thank you to the viewers.
All right. It's probably because you way out in Cape Town that we almost forgot to introduce you, but we're going to come back to you just now. Let's come back to our guest here in Joburg and talk about all of these. Perhaps let's start with you, Bruce. Traditional, I mean, you involved with traditional medicine. Perhaps you can define to us what traditional medicine is, and perhaps tell us what then you do in the Department of Health.
Okay, traditional medicine, I think, is a very wide concept that I think sometimes is very much difficult to explain. But what is traditional medicine in South Africa is that we've got, we define traditional medicine in two. The first one, we've got the African traditional medicines, which is the traditional medicine that is indigenous to South Africa. And also we have got the complementary and alternative medicines, which are also traditional medicines, but are those traditional medicines that are actually coming from other countries. So even in terms of regulating both of them, they are regulated separately in South Africa.
So this concept of, when you say alternative or complementary, it's against some, let's call it standard. What your views on that, Prof?
Well, it's actually, from our definition, it's a use definition.
Right.
So you could say take a herb which is traditional, because traditional is based on knowledge passed from generation to generation.
Right.
So you could take a product that is traditional, and every nation or every country in the world has a tradition of use of medicines.
Right.
Right? So you could take that, but then you decide to use it and complement what we would call conventional medicine. So take, for instance, someone undergoing radiotherapy. They might then decide to use a particular herb to help with side effects of the radiotherapy. So in that case, they're complementing their healthcare with something traditional. However, that person could decide they would stop radiotherapy and just use the herb for whatever reason, now that is alternative. So they are not longer using what is conventional.
Right.
They've now gone alternative. And from SAPRA's point of view, from a regulator point of view, we do not encourage or regulate alternative practices.
Right.
Yes.
All right. We're going to come back, to what exactly you regulate, but let's get a comment from Dr. Melinda. Your comment in terms of the definitions, first of all, and perhaps focusing a lot more on the practitioners. We talk about allied health professionals. What are we talking about?
Well, there is a disjunct in terms of legal definition and international usage. So allied health practitioners are in terms of international terminology, are generally persons such as nurses or physiotherapists or psychologists. But in South Africa, the legislative prescript for complementary or alternative medical practitioners is then the Allied Health Practitioners Act. So we are defined in law as such. And once our act is repealed eventually or changed, then the terminology will also change. Dr. Katerere is absolutely correct if you look at a use model as to what is complementary and what is alternative. But many people, from their own perspective, would regard conventional medicine as something which they do not wish to use, and therefore they would regard the use of alternative possibly as derogatory or complementary for that matter.
Correct.
It depends on your viewpoint.
Right.
It depends on how you approach your health within your cultural paradigm or your academic paradigm or whatever.
So what we see, or what we define as complementary or alternative might actually be conventional for other people.
That is correct.
Makes it very interesting.
For the purposes of the debate, complementary and alternative medicine is regulated by the Allied Health Professions Council of South Africa.
Yeah.
And the medicines or the pharmacopoeia is regulated by the SAPRA.
Okay. Let's cross over to Cape Town and speak to Maria. Maria, you president of the Health Products Association of South Africa. Now, what are health products?
The Health Products Association of South Africa is the voice for natural health products in South Africa, which incorporate complementary and traditional medicines, such as Chinese traditional medicine, Indian Ayurvedic medicine, Indian Unani Tib, homeopathic medicine, nutritional sciences, vitamins, minerals, aromatherapy, energy substances, and so it's a broad umbrella for a variety of healing modalities or products related, have philosophies around traditional use, and therefore this vibrant industry exists in South Africa based on cultural heritage, but also in the new innovation in nutritional sciences that is driving the growth of the wellness and well-care market in South Africa and globally, because a healthy nation is what the World Health Organization, the United Nations is striving for in order to bring healthcare costs down. So the complementary medicines incorporate a whole range of products that can be related to a traditional use with thousands and thousands or millions of years of usage, based on empirical evidence, also on traditional pharmacopoeia like the Indian and the Chinese pharmacopoeia, and the new innovation that's driven by sound science in the nutraceutical world.
So just to get it clear, I mean, there's the, when you say medicine, there's the concept of a product and the practice, of the healing practice. So are you a voice for both, or are you just focused on the products?
We are a voice to promote good health and best practice in relation to product. So there has to be a best set standard, which the Health Products Association has driven hard for all its members to comply with. It's a code of practice that involves ethical marketing, quality products that are based on appropriate, good manufacturing practice, and also ethical labeling and health claims. So in relation to the world, in terms of a global viewpoint, this industry is by and large, unless it makes medical claims, it is seen as a food supplement, a natural health product, a dietary supplement, or a nutritional product. In South Africa, since August 2017, this industry has been steamrolled into a full pharma paradigm, which sees medicine in different categories, like category A for allopathic medicine, and currently they see complementary medicine as being a subset of a drug-like regulation. And in relation to the global practice, this is not the norm. In fact, it's not necessary, because globally, good manufacturing practice and the science that's behind the evidence of the efficacious and dosage levels and the safety of the products are available. So we are called complementary medicines as an umbrella in South Africa, but as I said before, it relates to different products. And so one size does not fit all.
Okay, all right.
So currently we are extensively engaged with government.
All right. Perhaps let's come back to you, because I need you to just clear all of these issues. Perhaps you could help us in terms of the rationale behind the differentiation between different classes. She referred to A, B, C, and D, and so on. What is the rationale behind, and what is the reasoning?
Well, because all the products that we have are linked to a practice. Like Bruce and Louis here are representing different practitioners. And SAPRA then regulates the product. So in other words, we are protecting the public, and we really look at three pillars. The one pillar is safety. So is the product made safely? And like my colleague in Cape Town has alluded to, it then goes into manufacturing, for instance. How is it manufactured? How is it handled? How is it even stored and sold? That's safety. And then that's a quality issue as well. There's a quality issue that's involved, because quality impacts on safety. So you can make a great product, but if it's handled badly, then you have a poor safety profile to it.
But there's regulation on the one side. How then do you ensure, without using the word policing, who ensures that actually happens and all these products are actually safe for consumption?
So SAPRA does that, because if you would like to introduce a product on the South African market, as of November 2013, you actually have to bring in a dossier to SAPRA. And SAPRA would then look at both the pharmaceutical aspects, so the quality aspects of that, but also the clinical aspects of it.
Does it apply for traditional medicines as well? Let's call it, let's say herbs, for lack of it easier.
Okay, so it does not apply to African traditional medicines at this stage.
Right.
But as you know, traditional Chinese medicine is traditional in China. So right now it applies to 6 disciplines which fall under the Allied Health Professions Council.
Let me come to Bruce. Bruce, maybe sticking with the practice of traditional medicine, against the background of safety and quality.
And efficacy.
And efficacy, perhaps, yes. What is the department doing, along those lines to ensure that, the public is protected insofar as all of these issues we've discussed are concerned?
Okay. The department has got a legislation which is called the Traditional Health Practitioners Act, which is intended to regulate the practitioners. But in terms of regulating products, because traditional medicine is supposed to be regulated in threefold, as you were saying. That's the practice, the products, and the practitioners. So in terms of the products that are going to be regulated by SAPRA, as Prof. Keter is saying, that not now, but later there will be a requirement that all traditional medicines that are packaged for commercialization should go the SAPRA route. But those that are dispensed by traditional health practitioners one-on-one should remain within the interim traditional health practitioners council for regulating, because they has to go hand in hand with the practitioners because of the complexity around.
Isn't that going to be difficult? How then do you regulate that space where, you know, there's I mean, I would imagine there's going to be huge differences between what one practitioner does as compared to the other.
Yes, that is, as I'm saying, that there's a lot of complexity around this practice,
Right.
because even the herbs or the medicines that are available, you'll find that one herb in this province is not used the same as they are using it in other provinces. So you cannot have, or it's going to be difficult to have a standard on using such a medicines. So we have taken into cognizance the issue of complexity within this practice. Hence, we are saying the Traditional Health Practitioners Act will regulate both the practice and those products that are dispensed extemporaneously.
Okay. Dr. Molina, let's just come back to the practitioners now. I mean, you know, the issue around the practice of medicine. What is done to ensure that the practice does not prejudice, you know, the public?
Maybe just as by way of introduction, I would like to make the point that there seems to be a perception quite widespread that natural medicine is not a chemical as opposed to conventional medicines. And in the final analysis, all ingredients, active ingredients in either are in fact looked at from a regulatory point of view. And it's very important also to appreciate that if we use Prof. Katarere's use model, where you are undergoing conventional medical treatment, but you are taking, for example, a phytotherapeutic herb, it's very important to appreciate that there may be interaction. The herb may interact actually with the efficacy of conventional medicine. So it's very important, and that is why our practitioners are actually trained in conventional pharmacology in order to be able to advise a patient carefully if that patient then chooses, according to the use model, to use complementary medicine and visits a complementary health practitioner in order to understand the dangers. So the practice, as you know, we regulate 11 complementary health professions, namely homeopathy, naturopathy, phytotherapy, chiropractic, osteopathy, Chinese medicine and acupuncture, Ayurveda, Unani-Tib, therapeutic aromatherapy, therapeutic reflexology, and therapeutic massage therapy. So the Allied Health Professions Council, from its mandate, namely the protection of the health of the public, broadly welcomes the regulation of complementary medicines, because we believe that while most complementary medicines are currently unscheduled, and it's up to the scheduling and the naming committee of the SAPRA to consider scheduling at a later stage, and while we believe that most complementary medicines might then fall into Schedule 0, which is available across the counter, some medicines should indeed be scheduled. Some medicines are such that only practitioners who have the education and training understand how they should be used and under what conditions, or prescribed rather.
All right. Let's cross over in the last few seconds of the segment to Cape Town and speak to Maria. Maria, just in the context of, you know, safety and protection of the public against, let's just be, you know, frank about this. You know, oftentimes people make claims about what some products can do and can heal and can cure and so on. What is your body doing to then try and, you know, maintain the integrity of your profession, let's say, you know, insofar as, you know, protecting the public is concerned?
The HPA is very involved in that. So any person or company that wants to become a member of the HPA has to comply with a code of ethics, which includes these factors: safety, quality, and efficacy. So the formulation has to be assured to be safe. The good manufacturing practice appropriate to that product has to be, proved and proven. And additionally, ethical marketing is what we are hugely engaged in. So all our members have to comply with an ethical standards of best practice, but also best marketing practice. And as such, we've engaged with the Marketing Code Authority to ensure that there is a complementary medicines marketing code. And we are now engaging with the Advertising Standards Authority for same. And we have that code internally within the HPA to ensure that our members understand this. If a member does not comply with these standards, they are addressed and often have to actually leave membership of HPA if they do not wish to comply.
All right, thank you very much.
So
We're going to
we
have to
can
leave it
only
there because we've run out of time, unfortunately. And Maria, thank you so much for your contribution. And gentlemen, thank you so much. I'm sure we'll arrange to have more time to talk about this very important subject. But now we're going to go for a short break. When we come back, we're going to come into a bit more detail in terms of other forms like Chinese medicine, homeopathy, and lastly, spiritual and traditional healing. Please stay with us.
Young people make up the majority of the people in this country. So why is it that the job market is filled with old people?
We also need someone who can help us with everything. Job opportunities are things that could do.
High levels of violent behavior in our schools, learners physically attacking other learners, learners physically attacking teachers, and teachers attacking learners.
The laws that are governing health today will all have to be amended and be changed. Nothing is going to stay the way it is now.
Minister, they don't care first about the backyarders. And then we are sick and tired. And we are fighting, multi-family issues. That's why we want to go and build our shacks so that we can live with our children.
Our province is on the move all the time. The more houses are delivered, the more people move into our province.
Isibuhlungu ngaphakathi ngiko sesenza intuthu njengaphakathi kwasempumelelo. Izindlu zethu enelempa angeke iziphele singakazitholi izindlu.
My opinion, Mr. Infantino and FIFA, everybody agreed that VAR is not going well. It's not going well, that's the reality. There's a lot of complaints. We just need to know who is refereeing the game. Who take decisions in the game. We have the right to know. The people have the right to know.
I always say entrepreneurship are those that see opportunities where others don't.
You can't give me a bad deal. You can't cheat me. Because I'll read my own contract. I know what's going on in my contract.
But I've never been afraid of a challenge. I'm one of those people.
I didn't know the difference between my money and the business money. Whatever money that came in used to be your money. You'd go shopping, driving all these cars, and you were forgetting to pay creditors.
If we're more diligent with how we utilize our money.
So the great thing with this and my other job, being an advocate, is that in both industries, I sort of own my time.
Today, we're doing inner city buildings, we're doing commercial projects, and we're doing property development even within the township scale, and even now going to the extent of now even establishing offices in the States to be able to raise capital to invest in Africa.
Keep it locked to Bupilong every Saturday at 5:30.
5G technology, the Internet of Things and driverless cars are part of our reality.
For me, it's important that we get young girls and young women to also be innovators.
Data scientists solve problems using data, and that's required everywhere.
Then there's the internet that's part of everything that we do.
It's an IoT broom, which basically means it's a connected broom. It's a broom connected to the internet.
My favorite innovation has to be Waze.
On Network, we give you African technology and social media news. That's Network with me, Phumelele Zondi, every Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
Welcome back. We're talking complementary, alternative, and traditional medicine. And in this segment, we're now going to be focusing just to learn a bit more about what Chinese medicine and acupuncture actually is. And to help us do that is our two special guests. First, Dr. Tai Wang, who is a Chinese medicine expert and acupuncturist. Welcome to Health Talk, Dr. Wang.
Morning, how are you?
Good, good.
Doing good.
And accompanying Dr. Wang is Dr. Fundi Lenyati, who's no stranger to this show, a family physician who's obviously going to share his experiences in Western medicine and his understanding of chem. Welcome to Health Talk once again, Dr. Nyati.
Thank you.
Let's start with you, perhaps. In your interaction with patients and your general experience, I mean, the use of alternative medicine and traditional medicine is real.
It is real. It's a very big market out there. So many people believe in the complementary and alternative medicines. You know, some even more than they believe in orthodox or allopathic medicine, which is what you and I qualified in.
Right.
Yeah.
So your thoughts around the previous discussions we had around protecting, you know, the patients or the public out there?
Yeah. Look, I think, you know, we need to acknowledge that there is a wide range of people who can heal.
Right.
Some of those are coming from the Western approach to healing, but others come from other approaches.
Yeah.
All right? And I think for us to appreciate this, we also need to make sure that everybody acknowledges that, you know, people have got choices. All right? So as a family physician, trained in Western medicine, my approach in the first few years was very much just narrow, focused on orthodox medicine. However, my experience then showed me that some of my patients would leave my medicines and go and consult, you know, people who are from other, you know, approaches to healing.
Right.
And over the years, then I started to develop an interest to say, what is it that makes them to leave my practice to go and consult traditional healers or other alternative practitioners?
I'll tell you what, let's just keep it there because I'd like us to continue this, but I'd like to give Dr. Wang a chance. Dr. Wang, just educate us on Chinese medicine.
Okay, Chinese medicine is a very ancient, can say it's an ancient medicine that been discovered each by each one. But those medicine were found in the mountains. But at those days, the people wouldn't know what kind of grass or some plant can able to heal the sickness, take away, remove the sickness. But so that's how the Chinese medicine comes. As the time goes, people they bring some more combination to see to know that combination of these few single herbs can able to heat it up and to remove the symptoms. Yes.
So if I were to ask you, and I mean obviously my approach is from the base of what I know, all right? So what sort of conditions does your profession deal with? What sort of conditions in the manner that obviously people understand or the terminology that people understand, what sort of conditions do you deal with?
Most of the time the patient, they will come with symptoms like migraine, shoulder tension, or back pain. That is very common problem. And also with the ladies will come with endometriosis and cyst. And that is because I'm dealing with a lot of wide range of symptoms. And also the symptoms I mentioned just now, that is very common symptom that I'm dealing with. And some of the symptoms can use acupuncture to help to relieve the pains.
Okay. So acupuncture is a form of treatment.
Yes.
So how do you then assess? So somebody comes to you and says, "Listen, I have backache." Is there any form of assessment that you do to try and determine whether it's something that you can deal with or something that, you know, you cannot deal with and decide, you know, to advise accordingly?
The backache can be defined into from many ways. So that first thing I will diagnose the patient. How does the back pain start? Either is the back pain start, the pain is caused by inner organ, or it's an injury by outer injuries. For example, outer injury can be sport injuries. Sport injury can be very efficient and the pain can get instant relief by acupuncture. But if a pain caused by the inner organs, acupuncture have to work together with a Chinese medicine to bring up the energy flows of the organ. Then
So tell us about acupuncture then in the last 45 seconds or so. Yeah, what does acupuncture do?
Acupuncture can help to relieve and open the blockage inside the body and to regulate the qi of our bodies, so which is your vital energy, to bring up the vital energy of our body. It seems like if you have a blockage here, then naturally the pain will come. So when a thin needle insert into our body, then naturally through the stimulations and the blockage can be able to remove, then the pain disappears.
So mainly taking care of the pain as a symptom?
Yes.
Well, very interesting. I'll tell you what, Dr. Wang, I promise you I'm going to arrange more time next time. I feel like we need the entire hour just to talk about Chinese medicine. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, time for another quick break. When you come back, we'll learn more about homeopathy and/or naturopathy. Please stay with us.
The bank is going down.
I'm angry. 2017 financial statements of VBS did not present an accurate account of the mutual bank's financial position.
We are not happy at all.
We had a trust on these banks.
Because that's about 500,000.
So that trust is gone. It's gone.
We were saying similarly here, in a process which is intended to be impartial and independent, he should similarly recuse himself.
One can build conspiracies, and the fewer facts you have, the more easy it is to build conspiracies. And I suggest to you that when you're suggesting that there is some conspiracy about the witnesses were called, you might not have been aware of the facts that I've outlined to you.
Zimbabwe belongs to all Zimbabweans from all the four corners of Zimbabwe.
What a time! 1:54.26, another meeting record. She made it look effortless. Once again, Caster Semenya, no pacemaker required.
We are tired and we want people to take action. We want government to take action because women are being raped, women are being killed, women are being sexually and physically abused every day. Children are going missing.
See men at the forefront of this march is what softens the heart and makes us all feel proud of the type of men that we have in our country.
Here, the rates of violence against women and children are alarmingly high. Enough is enough.
Welcome back. We continue our discussion on complementary and alternative medicine. And this time we're going to be learning about homeopathy from our special guest, Dr. Yana Mostert. And of course, still with us is Dr. Nyati, who's a family physician. Dr. Mostert, welcome to Health Talk.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, just educate us a bit. We said that homeopathy and naturopathy, but we do know that the two are different. Please just explain the difference.
I would say the difference is the homeopathic remedies that we use. They are unique to homeopathy. In homeopathy, we use specifically prepared high dilutions, but we would always also use the same kind of medicines that naturopaths would use. We would also use herbal remedies, vitamins, and other natural supplements.
So naturopaths use the latter that you mentioned?
Naturopaths use the latter ones, but they don't normally use homeopathic remedies. That's the biggest difference.
Okay. So help us understand then the practice of homeopathy. Okay. Perhaps just in a few seconds, your training?
Training is we study for, it's a full-time study for 5 years. Right. Most of that is theoretical, and then the last year contains quite a lot of practical experience in the clinics and homeopathic clinics that are on campus. Right. And you can study homeopathy at one of 2 institutions in South Africa. It's either Durban University of Technology or University of Johannesburg. Right. And actually in South Africa, it's one of the countries where homeopathy has the longest course and the most in-depth if you compare it to other homeopathic courses all over the world.
How many homeopaths do you have in South Africa?
I have absolutely no idea, but I would say a couple of hundred. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what sort of conditions then do you deal with? And conditions, and as I said before, I mean, from the public point of view, people know diabetes, hypertension. Yes. And, you know, so what sort of conditions do you then deal with?
All conditions can be treated with homeopathy, either as a modality by itself or in conjunction with conventional medicine. The two do merge quite well. I would say where we come into our own is where in acute viral conditions we do quite well with coughs, colds, you know, all the things where you can't use antibiotics and you can't use cortisol or cortisone to treat. But we do treat a lot of respiratory conditions like asthma. Allergies is another thing that we see a lot of. So eczema, asthma, respiratory conditions, digestive conditions like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, we see a lot of that.
So how do you then assess and get to a diagnosis?
The biggest part of our consultation is exactly the same as a GP's. So we would get the patient in, we would examine them, we would order blood tests if necessary, we would make a diagnosis, but then we do spend a lot of time talking to the patient to find out how their symptoms are different from their neighbour's symptoms, how is their cough different. And that is one of the things that homeopathy is based on. We would often prescribe the remedies on those symptoms that make your cough different from your neighbour's cough. So it's a very individualized treatment. And we would also employ the remedies to try and get your body to fix itself. We do not try to fix the problem for you. It's not, for example, an antibiotic that kills the bacteria for you. We try to stimulate your body's defense mechanisms to fix itself.
And how do you monitor your outcomes? Are there conditions that you say, no, this our country, please go to hospital?
We would definitely refer if I feel that the vitality of somebody is too weak, if they just don't have their own defense mechanisms wouldn't be able to pull them through, I would definitely refer. And also if I feel that the problem has become too structural, that it actually needs surgical intervention, there needs to be other intervention, I would refer to a GP or for surgery.
Dr. Nyathi, in your practice, I mean, have you had to deal with inter-referrals between homeopathy and your general practice?
Yes, there's a couple of conditions that, you know, I would say as orthodox doctors, we don't really do well in managing. For example, she mentioned irritable bowel syndrome. You know, when you look at, you know, a patient with irritable, they'll come to you having tried so many other things, you know, and we've got very limited arsenal of stuff we can give to them. And what I've found is that when they use some of the stuff from the homeopaths, I mean, I don't want to mention a particular drug here, but there's a combination of natural, you know, remedies. It's called Iberogast, which does very, very well to treat IBS, you know, much better than the stuff that we have. You know, and also for people with asthma, there's quite a number of people with asthma who don't want to be on long-term steroids. And when they use some of their products, you'll find that, you know, the frequency of the attacks is actually, you know, reduced. So, yes, there is room. I think we need to have more interaction because we know very little about the value of the interventions that they have. Yet, as the orthodox doctors, we don't always have solutions, you know, to some of the problems that affect the patients that come to see us.
I suppose also the attitude that I know it all,
Yes.
and I can't refer to allied health, as
Yes.
it were. And your thoughts on how this interaction can be managed?
I'm really glad that I live in an age with antibiotics and with cortisone and things like that for us to fall back on. I feel it's not always necessary in each case. I feel sometimes conventional medicine can be a little bit like a sledgehammer to treat a little problem. So I feel that's often where homeopathy fits in, you know, at the beginning of illnesses when it hasn't gone so far, when you don't need the sledgehammer yet, homeopathy is great. But definitely, it's fantastic to mix the two, to mix conventional medicine with homeopathy.
So on that positive note that we're going to end this discussion for now. Well, thank you so much for your contribution, Dr.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, time for another quick break. When we come back, we focus on spiritual and traditional healing. Please stay with us.
For your weekly dose of entertainment news, watch Trends Saturday at 12 p.m.
The story of Guachu is a microcosm of the problems that continue to plague land reform, where the challenges of redistribution, restitution and security of tenure include not only addressing past injustices and making farms productive, but reclaiming identity.
I had, this belief that this is our government. Definitely, they will do whatever they can do for us to change our lives. But unfortunately, I think I was just naive.
It is the government of South Africa that is owning this land, and it is that government that is denying these people.
Welcome back. We have this very interesting discussion on complementary and alternative medicine, and now we're going to focus on traditional and spiritual healing. And our guests in the segment in the middle is Cindy Kruger, who's a spiritual healer and psychic medium. Welcome to Health Talk, Cindy.
Thank you for having me.
And those that know Cindy actually has her own show on television. She'll tell us more about it just now. And of course, we still have Dr. Fundile Nyati, who is a family physician. And another special guest is Mkhulu Mahlatini, who's a traditional healer. Welcome to Health Talk, Mkhulu.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Where do we start? Let's start with you, Cindy. Firstly, tell us about your show. Before we get to your show, what is psychic medium?
Psychic medium is a psychic where you're able to guide people on your past, present, future. And then on the mediumship side, you're able to connect with your loved ones that have passed over. So in terminology, it would be your loved ones, ancestors, spirit guides, or angels.
Right.
So the combination of both is used to help heal people going forward.
And you're a spiritual healer at the same time?
Yes.
What's the difference then?
Not much difference, because through the gift and through the work that I do, it always bases on clarity, closure, guidance, helping you forward. So it's constantly a healing.
Right.
You're creating the healing for someone to be able to move forward.
Okay. Well, and then your show. What do you do there?
It's spirit, and it's exactly showcasing exactly what I do right now, on a one-to-one basis with clients, and it's identifying everything from the loss of someone to sort of healing issues.
Right.
I'm nowhere near a doctor, so I don't diagnose, but I try and work more with the emotional terms. Why has the cancer
Let's spend a bit
been
more
caused?
time on that, and just take us through. I mean, obviously, this is a health show, and we try and put a spin around health and healing.
Yes.
So what are the sort of conditions or aspects of health that you focus on?
We focus on a lot with stress, anxiety, a lot of grief and loss,
Right.
and clarity and closure. So you'll be surprised how those elements affect people on a regular basis. Everything from work, possibly their home life, to possibly family life,
Right.
and all those emotional issues that boil up. I kind of feel like, yeah, we're gifted to help there, help them
Yeah.
get the clarity, help them get
But
closure.
it's a very important area. I mean,
We neglect it.
on the, let's call it conventional or orthodox medical side. I mean, mental health issues are a major issue.
Yes. Huge.
So, so if you're playing that very important complementary aspect is I think is very important. Yes. How then do you do your assessments? I mean, you did say that are you prepared to share your secrets with us?
To be very honest, with a client booking in to see me, I try not to know any information. I try and trust the source of my guides to try and guide me with the information. It's very much a sit-down discussion, so it's not necessarily healing as in touching. I believe it's healing through the voice. I see a lot of visions. I hear a lot from my guides, as well as your loved ones coming through. And so the process starts of connecting with this and connecting with that. It's quite a relaxed session for most. But one thing I've noticed with a lot of my clients is how they release. You would have seen that through the show as well. The tears, for me, is everything, because it shows how much we always pent up inside.
Right.
We always hold everything back. We're not able to feel a release or able to feel an expression. You'll be surprised how that causes an emotional issue.
So
it's
that
giving them
connection
that
takes
platform.
place during that interaction.
Totally, yes.
Very interesting.
Very
Let's go over to Mkhulu. Traditional healing. Do I say Thokozani?
Yes.
Oh, Thokozani. So just explain to us, in terms of your work as a traditional healer, what sort of areas do you focus on?
Basically, I would say I focus on, I won't say everything, but anything that a person comes to you with.
Right.
You know, a person will come with you, maybe they have problems with migraines, you know, they can't sleep at night, or this person have got womb problems, you know, or a person can come and bahlushwa madlozi. So it's basically what a person comes to me with, and I am able to then consult with my bones and then check what sort of help can I give them and what is the cause of whatever they came to me with.
Yeah.
So
interesting you mentioned migraines and so on. But in your work as a traditional healer, do you see or recognize, maybe recognize is not the right word, but do you use Western type diagnoses like diabetes, hypertension? In other words, somebody coming to you saying, I've been to a clinic and I'm told that I have diabetes and I've come to you to just clear this diabetes or whatever the case might be. How do you then see that? How do you assess that?
First of all, what I will do, I will then check my bones or, you know, consult with my guides to see if really this person has diabetes. If you must know, diabetes and other illnesses are chronic. So when coming to chronic disease, we normally advise people to use Western medicine, because now if this person is on treatment and then now you give them something stronger, when those things come together, there might be a clash, you know. You might find that that medicine is too strong for this person and now maybe they can't eat well, or you know, there are just complications when it comes to the pills that they're taking. So normally what we do, we will just give them, you know, just a little bit of medicines that is not too strong. But when somebody comes with a chronic disease, we normally tell them to stick to their treatment. We can't
Talk
say...
about giving stuff. And I'm going to ask what I know often is a problematic or controversial question in terms of how much to give and the instructions of how to take the, let's talk about, you know, the herbs or whatever is given to take by mouth.
Okay, let's say umuntu comes and they have a sort of like problem with their blood system. So you want to cleanse their blood. You give them Mbiza. And what you do, you don't give a person imbiza egcwele icup. When you give a person, you'll tell them, okay, here's the imbiza. It's either you're going to go and boil it at home or we can boil it for you. It's easier when we boil it because we'll know how much we're going to boil. Then we'll give it to you and give you instructions that you take it 3 times a day. You can take it when you wake up and during the day and then at night before you sleep. And this is how much you must take. You can't take more than that.
Dr. Nyati, I mean, this is a very, very important subject.
Yeah.
And I just feel, unfortunately, we just don't have time.
Yeah.
But your final word in terms of, you know, this, especially this area.
Yeah.
The importance of interaction with the traditional healers and just making sure that in the end, you know, the patient or the public is protected.
All right. I think in closing, we need to recognize that in South Africa, 60 to 70% of black Africans, they believe in traditional healers.
Right.
Okay? And by that, I mean there's God, there's ancestors, then there's the people. And they believe that whatever happens in their health or fortunes is linked to the protection that they should be getting from the ancestors. And therefore, when they come with any ailment or problem to a Western doctor, they want an answer in line with that belief system. And we, as the Western doctors, do not have the ability to answer the why me and the why now.
Sure.
And therefore, they are important so that they can be able to, using the gifts that they have, be able to engage you know, with that person's guides. And also, in the case of a medium, it's the same thing. She's got a special gift to connect. All right? And especially on issues of mental health, depression, anxiety, where people are still grieving, they've got questions that they need to ask, but they cannot ask of the person who has passed. And by being able to engage with somebody like her, they get answers, you know, that no, everything is all right, don't be stressed, I'm okay, and all of those things. I've listened to her show. So basically, I think we need to have broadening of our minds so that we can make, you know, we can leverage all of these different, you know, areas of healing. Obviously, the issue of safety is very important.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I know that I have an assurance from all of you that I want to invite you back, so we have individual shows with all of you. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Okay, thank you.
Folks, that's all the time we had for you today, and we're back on the screen again next week, same time, same place. And until then, please stay cool.